Good evening, the last sports night before Christmas and potentially the busiest and the best. FA Cup soccer, Grand Slam tennis and live heavyweight boxing. The return of Gary Mason to the current scene. And how it's changed. Evander Holyfield is now the man to beat. Once again, Mike Tyson is the man to fear. Frank Bruno needs to make a move. There might be news tonight. But Mason is back, still world-ranked. His target is Tyson. His opponent tonight is James Pritchard, and we'll be live at the Royal Albert Hall in a moment. The Royal Albert Hall, will it be a successful return to the ring for the British heavyweight champion Gary Mason? It's Mason against the American James Pritchard, and we'll be joining Harry Carpenter. But first, the master of ceremonies, Mike Shinfield.
Now, gentlemen, please. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the main event of the evening. National Promotions present an international heavyweight contest of 10 3-minute rounds. Introducing in this corner, ladies and gentlemen, from Louisville, Kentucky, James Pritchard. And from Wandsworth, ladies and gentlemen, the heavyweight champion of Great Britain, Gary Mason. At the weigh-in today, Pritchard scaled 14 stones, 5.5 pounds. Mason, 16 stones, 12 pounds. The referee for this contest, Mr. John Coyle. The timekeeper, Mr. Tom Rice.
Well, it must be a tremendous relief for Gary Mason to be able to get back into the ring after the eye operation. But it also can't be an easy night for him. He's got to test the eye, he's got to test his competitiveness, his reflexes against James Pritchard of the United States. Last seen by me about 2 years ago in Arizona when he was sparring with Frank Bruno for the Tyson fight. Mason coming out of the left-hand corner. He'll be 28 years old come Saturday. Pritchard is 29. Pritchard in the blue trunks. Slightly shorter than Mason and a lot lighter. Mason, a lot of publicity about how much weight he's been taking off, but he's still 16-12. But that happens to be 10 pounds lighter than he was the last time he fought. Mason with the familiar stone-faced stare, a little bit Sonny Liston-like as he advances on Pritchard. And Pritchard threw a sharp right hand there. Gary need to watch that. Good right to the body and a left hook to the head from Mason. And Pritchard took them well. He's got a reputation for durability. Although he's lost 4 fights, and he's been stopped in all of them, he's never been on the floor, he claims.
There you go, man. There you go, man.
Mason punching sharp and strongly inside. That's a good punch. And Pritchard did a little wobble. Mason keeping his punches short, compact, and accurate. Pritchard conceding nearly 2.5 stone here. It's a lot to give. And that's a useful opening round by Mason, who looked quite sharp and was always advancing on his man. Well, here's a man who's never lost a professional fight, Gary Mason. And there it is. Impressive record, 34 fights and all won, and 31 inside the distance. And that's been accumulated in 6 years. And of course, it's his first fight since March, also here. Well, I got my old chum Frank Bruno sitting with me, and you've done a bit of sparring with Gary Mason in your time?
I've done a bit of sparring with James Pritchard as well, Harry. So it's an intriguing fight today.
How do you think Gary feels about this? Because it must be difficult to come back after an eye operation.
He's got a second life, Harry, and I mean, there's a lot of people that can't come into the country with the eye operation what he had, so he's got a second life, so he should take full advantage of it tonight. He should do.
Actually, he looks quite okay. I mean, he's coming, he's confident.
Yeah. Naturally, he's going to be a little bit nervous, but he looks pretty cool so far, Harry.
This is a scheduled 10-rounder. The last fight Mason had before the eye operation was against Everett Martin of the States, and that went all the way, 10 rounds. And 2 days after that fight, he had the retina operation on the right eye, performed by the surgeon David McLeod, who a few years before had performed the same operation on Maurice Hope, a former world light middleweight champion. And Maurice is in the audience here tonight watching this. He came back successfully after the operation, so there's no reason why Gary shouldn't. Had a bit of a switchback career. Pritchard, he made a good start to his pro career. He was unbeaten in his first 15 fights. Not been quite so good since. Good one, too. And Mason is punching too fast and too hard for Pritchard, who is looking very shaky indeed at this moment. And we're only halfway through the second. And for the first time, Pritchard seemed to be in serious trouble. Nice mixture of punches from Gary. He's putting him into the head and body, mixing him up well, and finding Pritchard with every punch. That's a good right hand. He's going to go. It's an impressive comeback by Mason, and Pritchard is nobody's fool, believe me. He's fought 2 former world heavyweight champions, Mike Weaver and Mike Dokes. Mason must make sure now he doesn't get careless. Now he's on top, because Pritchard could still be dangerous. Strong man, Pritchard. He's done well to stand up under this. It's a great round for Mason, not so good for Pritchard though, and there was a point there where I thought he might go. James Pritchard from Louisville, Kentucky, which of course was the home of the famous Muhammad Ali. Turned out quite a few fighters. Jimmy Ellis was another who once upon a time trained this man, James Pritchard, who has been a pro since 1985. Frank, you sparred, as you said, quite a bit with Pritchard. You'd regard him as a pretty durable fighter,
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
very dangerous guy, Harry. You know, when he was in America, he always said he wanted to come over to England and fight Gary Mason. This is his day now, so he's got to try and prove himself. But that was a very, very good round for Gary Mason, you know. But he doesn't want to punch himself out. He just got to pace himself along because, like, this guy's a tricky cookie, but he's throwing some good, sweet punches,
He's
Harry.
an example of some good Mason punching.
Over the top,
he stood up well under this, Pritchard.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to go.
Seconds out, round 3.
I'll give him some respect, Harry.
Yep. So into round 3. Mason in red. The British heavyweight champion. With Lennox Lewis, now the European heavyweight champion. There's an obvious match to be made between the two of them, but it might take some time to get them together. Mason actually has ambitions to fight Tyson. Wouldn't be one of my ambitions, but he's very welcome to it. There have been times when, if Gary doesn't get a fight over quickly, he's begun to look a little, well, plodding, let's say. But at the moment, he's doing everything right. Mason, of course, has recently been training in Tampa, Florida, under a new coach, Ben Getty. He's in his corner tonight. He really did work out there, apparently, and lost nearly 3 stone. This is the right opponent for Mason in his comeback fight. Man who can take a few punches and enough to test Gary, and maybe even to give Gary a bit of trouble if this goes any distance. Mason has never stopped stalking his opponent from the first bell. And a little eyeball-to-eyeball confrontation. I don't know what all that was about, and whether it was even necessary, but they gave each other the old stare as they went back to their corners. What's all that about, Frank?
The boxers always do them sort of things to psych each other out, you know. It's a little bit of edge over the other one, Harry. But that was it's a good steady pace, you know, they're keeping up. But Gary doesn't want to punch himself out against this guy because he's a very tricky and a dangerous guy. But Gary looks a little bit too big for him, but he's still tricky, you know.
So the thing is that Pritchard has taken some of his best punches already.
Yeah.
And here he is coming up for the 4th round. So that's a little worrying, I would have thought.
It is a little
Mason
bit worrying, Harry. To lose 3 stone in 7 weeks, Harry, you know what I mean? I don't even think you could do that, you know what I mean?
If I lost 3 stone, there wouldn't be anything left.
Yeah, there is. There would be your glasses, Harry.
Right, Mr. Bruno.
Right,
We'll talk later.
Seconds out,
Live later,
round
yeah.
4.
Pritchard beginning to do a little bit of the flashy stuff. getting a little more confident, Pritchard. That's the sort of thing that will knock the confidence out of him, though. One or two more of those Mason digs in the ribs. Pritchard complaining he was hit low. Mr. Coyle, the referee, says, get on with it, I'll be the judge. Mason working very well to the body. That might just be the best place to go with Pritchard. Good attack by Mason in the fourth round. Pritchard does take a good punch, there's no question of that. A lot of Mason's earlier opponents would have been gone by now. It's a question now, I think, of how much John Coyle, the referee, will allow Pritchard to take if it goes on like this. A good right from Pritchard, he's still dangerous. And again, a little confrontation at the end of the round. James Pritchard, who, as I said, has fought two former world heavyweight champions, Mike Weaver. Weaver stopped him in 6 rounds in 1987, and Dokes stopped him in 7 in Madison Square Garden in April '88. What do you think, Frank? It's going very well for Gary at the moment.
Very interesting fight. Very, very well for Gary, you know, but Pritchard is a very dangerous guy. He likes to play to the crowd and he loves it, you know what I mean? He's got to be very careful of Gary's right hand, but he's a very dangerous opponent, you know.
Every now and again, he throws a wicked-looking right,
over
Pritchard,
the top. I think he's trying to let Gary punch himself out, you know, and come on top after.
But it's all Mason at the moment.
Yeah, considering he's been out so long on his eye operations, he's not doing too bad, Harry. But he's got to be careful all the time because 7 weeks taking off 3 stone, you know, that can take its toll on you, you know what I mean? Because
Seconds out, round 5.
This is shaping up into a pretty good fight. Gary Mason, the British heavyweight champion in the red trunks, 16 stone 12. And the man from Louisville, Kentucky, James Pritchard, 14 stone 5.5. So almost 2.5 stone being conceded by the American. And he's probably nearly 2 inches shorter. Mason, who used to survive on 5,000 calories a day, has recently been taking only 1,500 calories a day. That's not a lot. That's less than most of us eat in a day, by a long way. I think what Frank said was right. Matt Mason clearly is trying to pace himself here in case he has to go the full 10 rounds. And he slowed himself down a bit and picking his punches now very carefully. They're still getting through to the target. And he's making Pritchard miss quite nicely. Thundering right hands into the ribs from Mason. That's well, I think he caught him off balance as much as anything. But it certainly shook Pritchard. He didn't expect that one coming at him. Came sort of almost round the back of his head. And Pritchard is beginning to look like a man who may be on the way out. Round 5, only 10 seconds to go in this round, so he might survive. And he will. And Pritchard constantly seems to want an argument after the bell. But he was very nearly gone there, Frank, I think. Yeah,
you could say that again. There's a good punch by him, you know, but I can remember him being in the gym, you know, he always does this. He always likes to play to the crowd and all them sort of things. And he's a strangest sort of guy. You could hit him. Yeah.
Sort of came over his shoulder as he was
a good
running
right
past.
hand over the top, Harry. Yeah.
It's a good performance by Gary, isn't it?
Yeah, considering, you know, I mean, he's been out so
and a lot of worries with the eye
and the weight and all them sort of things. But he's doing a very good job, Harry. Yeah,
I think it's as good as I've ever seen him, actually.
Yeah. He must be very hungry tonight, Harry. Well, nearly as hungry as you before Christmas.
On 1,500 calories a day, he's liable to be hungry.
Yeah.
Round 6 coming up.
Second out, round 6.
Well, Mason had him very nearly on the way out at the end of the 5th. Can perhaps he put something together here now and get rid of James Pritchard, the man from Louisville, Kentucky. When Pritchard fought Mike Dokes, a report of that fight said that he had a suspect chin and also suspect stamina. Well, judging by what's going on here, he certainly hasn't got a suspect chin, and the stamina doesn't look too bad. Pritchard again, wanting to play to the crowd all the time. Don't get paid any more for doing that. Pritchard now looking pretty slow, but might still be dangerous with the right hand. Ben Getty, the new coach of Mason, keeps calling out, make him miss, make him pay. One mighty haymaker from Mason that was going to put him out for the night, but it missed by rather a long way. That one didn't. And he was quick to follow up, Mason. Good sign. Just still getting that sharp little right hand over the top. And enters again as the bell ends the 6th round. Mason has fought 6 rounds at a fairly good pace for a man of nearly 17 stone, Frank. So do you think Gary might begin to slow down a bit now and pace himself even more?
I think both of them have got to pace themselves, because Gary's in the 6th round, he was doing well. The 7th round is, you know what I mean, it's even Stevenson. The guy was coming back with right hands, and he can't afford to blow himself out, because this is a guy what likes to entertain to the crowd, and he likes to come on and all them sort of things. But it's a very good even match, Harry. Very, very good even match. He still
does. Pritchard, he still throws that little sharp right hand occasionally, which, you know, if Gary does get careless and doesn't see it coming, it might give him a lot of trouble.
You can say that again, Harry.
Stage.
Yeah, you can say that again. In heavyweight boxing, anything could happen. You can't take your eyes off him at no time at all, Harry.
You must have given Pritchard a fair number of whacks.
One day, Harry, one day he just turned, he went in his changing room and he just didn't want to come out. He just said, I want to go home, you know? Strange.
Round 7.
Strange? I don't think it's strange. Round 7. Four rounds to go if it goes all the way. Waiting to put the right across, trying to set him up with the jab. Mason is better than anybody will know about Pritchard's right hand, that one, and that's the one he's always got to be careful about. That's the danger punch. That clearly hurt Gary Mason, because it's stung him into this little attack here. He was working with just the left jab, and now suddenly a little bit hurt by that right. Certainly not a difficult man to hit, Pritchard. He's always moving in a straight line, forward or back. He doesn't do much bobbing or weaving and coming inside from the side. He's a fairly easy target. And again the right hand from Pritchard. All along that's looked like the danger punch. And Mason certainly doesn't want to go wild here and leave himself open. At this point, he ought to be happy to settle for a points win. He's overwhelmingly in front. Mr. Pritchard seems to be a little bit of a comedian, Frank.
Yes, you can say, as I said, Harry, he plays to the crowd, you know, and he's a dangerous so-and-so, but he's got a little notch in his brain that sometimes he just turns it off and he walks away. He's got a tendency to do that when he went to South Africa a couple of times, but he's a very tough guy and he's a good workout for Gary, you know what I mean? Gary has always got to be on his toes when he's fighting this sort of guy.
It's not a name I'd like to bring up with you, but do you think he could turn out to be a sort of bone crusher, Smith?
I'm not too sure, Harry. You know what I mean?
Finish, you know what I mean?
I think even you, if you went in the round, you could be a bone crusher, Smith, because any boxer that goes in the ring with gloves, Harry, you're dangerous until the last bell,
well,
until the referee said that's the finish and he holds up your hand. You've got to be red alert at all times.
Gary's so far in front, but you just wonder whether this man might not just produce something.
He's a dangerous so-and-so, Harry. He's got to watch him at all times.
Well, 7 very solidly efficient rounds behind him now, Mason. Once or twice, he's had Pritchard tottering on the brink of defeat. But the bell came to the rescue for Pritchard. And maybe the American has come through the worst. I was going to say he's got him backed into a corner, but he let him get away. John Coyle is having a very close look at Pritchard all the time now. And as he sees these punches going in, he's got to make up his mind, Mr. Coyle, just how much he's going to allow Pritchard to take, because he does tend to soak it up. But he still looks dangerous. Mason's still keeping his punches admirably short and placing them where they matter. Pritchard spitting blood. That was a good punch from Mason again. Round 8, 45 seconds to go. This is about the 3rd time in this fight that Pritchard has looked as though he might be on the way out. Got a bit of a shove there with the upper arm from Mason, and John Coyle gave Gary a slight caution. That's another cracking right hand from Mason. 10 seconds to go to the end of this round. And one more well-directed punch could finish this, and there's the bell. So once again, James Pritchard has survived. Once again, Gary Mason goes back to the corner, knowing that it's not over yet. Still 2 rounds to go. This guy does soak it up, doesn't he?
Yeah, you can say that, Harry. You know, I think if you bring a baseball bat in there, you still soak it up, you know. He's still playing to the crowd as well. Very good workout for him, very good.
I tell you what, this was a good opponent to pick for Gary on the comeback, wasn't it? Because if somebody had come in and gone over quickly, they'd all have said, well, it wasn't a proper test. But this is a test.
Yeah, 10 rounds, you know, good workout, Harry, you know what I mean?
That was a good right hand.
Yeah, very good right hand. But he's still on his feet, the guy.
He's not been over once?
No, not really, you know what I mean? Not
well,
once.
He claims he's never been on the floor in any fight.
Harry, he was on the floor when we were sparring.
Ah, in a fight?
In a fight, yeah, true.
He didn't mention the sparring.
Yeah, he passed on that one.
Second bell, round 9.
2 to go. Mason in the red trunks, British heavyweight champion, trying to achieve his 35th successive win as a pro, and looking absolutely likely to do it. The only question is, will he do it inside the distance or on points? Pritchard has earned his money tonight. Every penny of it. Punches coming in thick and fast now from Mason. Working principally with the left hand.
Yeah, you could say that again, Harry, but he's just he hurt his right hand, Gary, a little bit. You know, he just drew back a little bit. He's been hitting the guy with everything, and the guy's still there.
As if he hasn't had enough trouble this year.
Yeah, he just wants to concentrate and beat him on points, you know, because he can try and get brave and try and impress everybody and come unstuck. You know, it's just best to...
Well, he tried the right on him there. Yeah. And it seemed to hurt. Pritchard, that is. And again, Mason gets him with the right hand. Pritchard's looking to the referee, and it's all over in the 9th round. He's taken enough. And Gary Mason has come back to the ring after a serious eye operation last March and returned in triumph and chalked up his 35th successive win as a professional. And I would have said probably one of the best wins he's ever had in the professional ring. Right, I'm going to hop up in the ring, Frank, and have a word with Gary.
Yeah, no
so
problem.
Why don't you have a little chat with Steve Ryder?
No problem, Harry. You take it easy. Mind you step up them stairs, Harry. The moccasins.
Yeah, take it easy, Harry. Frank, your overall impression of Gary's performance tonight.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Frank. Your overall impression of Gary's performance tonight. Frank, I think, is struggling with the sound down there at ringside. Frank, can you hear me?
Yes, Steve, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, let's get your overall impression of Gary Mason's performance tonight.
Yes, tonight, you know what I mean? Like, after he's been out for 9 months, eye operation, been to America, 3 stone, that isn't a bad, you know what I mean, result, Ian.
Yeah. He finished it inside the distance, which is also encouraging. Was it a different kind of Gary Mason we saw tonight?
Yeah, I think so, you know, considering he's been at the ring so long. It was a very impressive, actually, you know. Well done. Nice one. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Nice one. Yeah, it was very, very impressive performance tonight, because Pritchard is nobody's fault. He likes to play to the crowd. He's a tough opponent. You can hit him all night, you know, but it was strange how he turned away at the end. But I said that to Harry previous rounds before, that he would do something like that. But it was a very, very good performance. Couldn't complain one little bit.
Okay, Frank, I think Harry's safely made it into the ring, and he's with Gary Mason now.
Thank you.
Gary, congratulations. That was an impressive comeback, sir.
Thank you. I was hoping for something like that to start with. I was boxing under instructions, not to do nothing silly, not to get overexcited and try and impress people. Just box and try and get a good workout, which this fella gave me.
He did. He's a very strong guy, but then we knew that because he'd sparred with Frank. We knew how durable he was.
Yes, and he'd only ever been stopped by 2 other world champions, which was something. He was always going to be a hard test. He's ranked 4th as a cruiserweight, and he was actually training for a world title fight at cruiserweight. So he didn't come in here on fight. He came in here prepared, and I think he gave me all the trouble I needed and the sort of workout that I needed.
Have you hurt your right hand tonight?
Yes, yeah, I've actually noticed that I threw a couple of shots twice.
Mr. Bruno said you had. He was very observant.
Yes, that's right. I did twice. Well, Frank knows I've hurt it on his chest enough times, haven't I?
Is it very bad?
Yeah. No. I've been having constant trouble with it, but it's no more trouble than I've had in the past.
Actually, you finished him with the right hand. I mean, it was the right hand that persuaded the referee to stop it.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the right hand that persuaded him to give up.
Now, Gary, very briefly, I mean, it was a nightmare, this business of the eye, wasn't it, for you? Yes. Is it true that you were in bandages? You couldn't see for 3 weeks after the operation?
Yes, that was right. The eye was covered up, and I had to lie on my side, on my right side, for about 3 or 4 days. And you can imagine what it's like waking up, having to lie on your right side and not being able to see.
And also, you never knew until recently whether you'd be able to fight again.
No, that's right. My career was in the balance, and for that reason, my weight soared, and I went into all sorts of. I had all sorts of problems. But thank Professor David McLeod and Dr. Scott for enabling me to carry on with my career.
Well, it's a good comeback, Gary, and keep it up. Keep going.
Thank you, and it's good to be back.
Great, thanks a lot.
Yes, given the recent history of fine performance, we'll have a further reflection on that result a little later in the programme, and we'll talk in more detail with Frank Bruno about the current, a very useful comeback performance against the experienced American James Pritchard. Resilient opponent, but it all finished here in the 9th round when really Pritchard himself decided that he didn't want any more. Mason back and looking very good. And Frank Bruno was at ringside, so let's get Frank's view now on the heavyweight scene as it stands at the moment, and not least Bruno's place within it. Frank, with Harry.
Frank, I don't suppose I need to remind you, but in a few weeks' time it'll be 2 years since you had the fight with Tyson, and that was the last fight you had.
Yeah.
It's beginning to get a long time now with no boxing.
Yeah, I've been doing other things, you know, pecking, Harry, doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm in pantomime in Nottingham at the moment, so I'm just sort of like trying to concentrate on that side of it at the moment to set myself up for after boxing.
I read something the other day that you told somebody that after the pantomime was over that you would then think about whether you were going to fight again.
Where was that, Harry? Was that in the Sunday
I read it in
School
several,
or something like that?
read it in several papers.
Yeah.
So I don't know who you told that to.
No, I went to St. Lucia and they asked me to do an interview for the television, and I wanted to sort of like say to my grandma in Dominica that I miss her and I love her, and they said that I wanted to make a comeback, you know, but I said I couldn't sit on my backside after February because that's when the pantomime finishes, Harry. So I've got to do something because I'm 29. I'm not as old as you yet, Harry, but I'm getting that way. If I keep on driving up and down the M1, I'll be getting that way pretty soon.
But it is beginning to be a long time, isn't it, since you boxed? And you seem to me, in those 2 years, to have been perfectly happy with what you're doing now. I mean, you're a great celebrity. You're getting all this work in pantomime and that sort of thing.
Right.
I'm just wondering whether this is now the thing you're going to do in the future and maybe not box again.
Yeah, I've got to take a lot of things into consideration because I've been playing funny games with my mind. Not playing funny games with my mind. Since I haven't been in the ring, I've been training nearly every single day, running, training, doing whatever. Not in the gym all the time, not in the gym hardly any of the time, but I've been doing a lot of aerobics, weight circuits, sprints, swimming, everything I've been doing, Harry, and I can't get it out of my blood, you know, and I've got to take into consideration that I'm only 29 and heavyweights don't start developing until they're 29, and whether the M1 is more dangerous than going into the ring. No. Sorry, Harry, you know, I've been driving up the M1. I don't know what's more dangerous, driving along that road or going into the ring, you know?
Now, when you come out of pantomime, it'll be, what, February?
February, yeah.
Now, if you said then that, yes, I am going to resume my boxing career,
yeah,
how long would it take you before you would have a fight? How long would it take you to get really competitively fit?
You asked me an exclusive there. I think about 6 weeks it'll take me to get fit, you know, because I've been training every single day. I've been running the Great North Run, that is 13 miles. I've done 133 in that. I've done the Scottish Run, that was 15 miles. I've done 150 in that. I've been doing 10-mile runs. I've been running every single day, looking after myself. Got to keep the wife happy as well, you know. But I've been looking after myself every single day, Harry, so I feel okay.
Don't know what you make of that. Few clues to Frank Bruno's future.